Just a quick reminder, guys, these narrations are best enjoyed with headphones on. Ladies and gentlemen, start your emulators. It is time for another episode of RetrOS, the show where we give you a recommended dose of nostalgia by reviewing games from your childhood. This is Tails9 here from Sonic Prime, and the emphasis is on the 9. And in this episode, it's the first ever review on a 3DS console. And in this episode, we're taking a look at Red's attempt to replicate the Mario Kart formula on a DS console. So is this game a Mario Kart killer, or is this game merely just an imitator? Well, without further ado, let's find out. The Nintendo 64, released in 1996 in Japan and 1997 in Europe and North American territories, is one of Nintendo's most iconic consoles. The console itself had a plethora of beloved titles in its games catalog. For starters, we had GoldenEye 007, released in 1997. The title was revolutionary in a number of ways, pushing the boundaries of first-person shooters on console. Seriously, if there had been no GoldenEye, Halo would never be a thing. We also got The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, debatably one of the greatest games ever made. I understand that's a bit cliche these days, but hey, that's your opinion. Finally, we got WCW vs NWO World Tour, probably one of the best wrestling games ever made. So, Diddy Kong Racing is another one of those games on this list. Originally developed in 1997, exclusively for the N64, with veteran Nintendo Systems developers Rare taking the helm. Before this classic, Rare had a hand in the developing of the Donkey Kong series of the Super Nintendo, GoldenEye 007, as we mentioned earlier, Killer Instinct, and the brawler that was responsible for over 65% of broken NES controllers, Battletoads, to name a few. By the way, 9, did you mention there's a certain Xbox controller that you kind of broke while trying to get this undefeatable achievement on Rare Replay? Hey, we don't talk about that. So this game was running on the heels of the massive success of Mario Kart 64. The story revolves around Timber the Tiger and gaming's favorite little chimp, Diddy Kong. An evil intergalactic pig wizard, Wizpig, has taken control of Timber's island and recruited its 4 guardians, while his parents was away on vacation. The only way to regain the control of the island was to defeat Wizpig in an elaborate series of races. It was up to you to race around these racetracks and beat the Guardians, and finally give Wizpig the boot. The accessibility scores are as follows. To kick things off, visibility, I scored a pretty mediocre 6. In terms of this category, the majority of the experience seems to be colorblind friendly. However, there's one rather serious issue in this game. During races, you drive over balloons to get weapons. These balloons, however, are color-coded. Red for attack items, for example missiles, blue for boosts, and green for traps, for example oil slicks. Well guys, you know as well as I do, a red-green color contrast is a definite no-go. However, in most kart racers, when you are close to winning weapon pickups, your first instinct would be to grab it. So in that respect, unless you are picky with the items you can collect, that should not be that much of an issue.
That's not good enough!
So apart from that, there are no color-coded elements that can cause an issue for colorblind players. Next up, at ability, I scored a perfect 10. In this game, there is no spoken dialogue. This is probably due to the original release of the game's age, i.e. the N64 version, and size limitations of a DS cartridge. All dialogue in this game is text-based. Back in the mid to late 90s, imaginations had to fill in the blanks. Next up, mobility, I scored again a mediocre 6. In this game, there's no way to alter your button layouts. This is important as certain buttons on the console can be very tricky and disorienting to use, even for small portable systems such as a Nintendo DS. To make matters worse, to get a boost start, you are relying on the console's gimmicks. For example, spinning the wheel with a touchscreen and stylus, or blowing into the console's built-in microphone. Using this control style can be very disorienting, even for able-bodied players.
This is outrageous. It's unfair.
Yes, there's an option to switch to the classic N64 style. But, in hindsight, best to enjoy this title using the classic N64 release. And last but certainly Biomutant Elite's gameplay is quite a 10. In terms of content, there's a lot to like here. The DS version has a few new playable characters, such as Dixie and Tiny Kong, with Tosh and Diddy and the game's antagonist, Whizpig, appear as unlockable characters only for the DS version. This version of the game also has expanded multiplayer features. You can play against each other through local ad hoc multiplayers or against other players online through Wi-Fi connection. At time of reading this, I don't think the servers are online. What made this original version of the game standing out from the crowd from a very congested market at the time was alternate vehicles. You could play in any race in a car, a hovercraft, or an airplane. This added more replayability, as you can replay any track in the game using the alternate vehicles the game has. In terms of single player content, the game's signature adventure mode is still present. You can pick a character and race through the various racetracks each hub world has. Better still, in the DS version, you can change your characters on the fly thanks to the Wish menu. As you play through this mode and win races, additional tracks will be unlocked in single race mode. At the end of every hub world, you have to race against this area's boss. Be warned guys, these racers are no walk in the park. If you win a race, you can participate in this area's championship, which was basically an all-out battle for that area's trophy. Also, the DS version has unique mode. Instead of silver coin challenges for the N64 version of the game turns into a rail shooter. In this challenge mode, you take control of the charge, the genie, and its flying carpet. In this mode, you have to shoot balloons hidden around the course as Tosh completes a few laps. However, two characters are missing from the game's rosters when compared to the N64 version. Banjo and Conker are absent. This is due to licensing issues, as the game's original developer, Rare, was bought up by Microsoft in 2002. In summary, Diddy Kong Racing DS is a rather faithful recreation of the N64 classic that was re-released for the game's 10th anniversary. Yep, feeling old yet, guys? The zany charm of the original N64 version still lives on, with expanded features such as the ability to create your own racetracks and ad hoc multiplayer with other DS systems. Yes, thanks to backwards compatibility, any variant of the DS family can join in. Now, it may not be the definitive way to replay this classic, but this game is well worth the look nonetheless. And the overall score is a highly respectable 80%. This is Tailsong here from Sonic Prime, assistant head of RetrOS here, and I'll see you guys in the next review.